I got to go on live. How's it going? We are live. We are live. How you all doing tonight?
All
Hi,
right.
Dan. How are you doing? How
Hey, I
you
just want to let
doing?
you. Hey, how you doing? I know there's people already asking, are we getting ready to go? So it's really cool, to see that. Oh my goodness, look at the count. Look at the count. They are coming on. It's great. I'm Denver Riggleman. I got Tara, Michelle, and Rena. I have three smarter people than me on the line tonight. It is so great to see you guys. And you know what? And Tara, I know me and you. It's all four of us, right? There's a lot of IQ here. But the four of us combined aren't the same age as the two people on the stage tonight. So this is going to be pretty exciting. Um, so the
You
first
don't
thing
say.
I don't say so, Tara. I want you to start because I want to. I don't want to start because I think that what I'm about to say is going to be very blunt, and it's also going to be, as Coalition is saying, as a Seneca Project, you all are so incredible who you're trying to reach. We're trying to talk real truth, real facts. So, Tara, since I'm such a scaredy cat, would you like to start? I just think we should do like what 30, 45 seconds of what we thought and then go from there. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I mean,
Tara, go
listen.
ahead.
Look. There is nowhere else I'd rather be than with you guys tonight as our support group for democracy and
Hmm.
as sane people who understand what's at stake in this election. And with Michelle and I co-founding the Seneca Project, Rena's an advisory committee member, senior advisor, as are you, Denver, and the fact that we are all here in solidarity with the full understanding that despite the performances tonight, which I think we can all acknowledge was not Biden's greatest, right? That wasn't the State of the Union Biden we were all hoping to see. But it doesn't change the fact that he was on the stage with a convicted felon who wants to be an authoritarian on day one, who hates this country, and his idea of making America great again is destroying our democracy and turning it into an authoritarian regime. None of those facts have changed. The dynamics are still the same. The problem here is that people are going to panic because President Biden didn't have his best performance. He's 81. But Joe Biden is still not a convicted felon. He's still not a sexual predator. He's still not someone who wants to cozy up to our dictators and abandon our allies overseas. He is not an existential threat to democracy. So as long as President Biden is still in this race, that's who we will support. If there are other decisions happening, that's up to the Democrats and people above our pay grade. But we are on the side of democracy. We are not on the side of Donald Trump and MAGA and extremism and what that represents for our country. We need to stay focused on November and what the consequences will be if Donald Trump wins.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Rena or Michelle?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just disappointed for the country. I got to be honest, because this is the reflection to the world of who we are as a country. And we've come so far, I think, in the 8 years since we first met Donald Trump, the candidate. And I think it shows that the democracy that we have here, the representative one, does hold, and it can weather these sort of storms of people with wannabe authoritarian tendencies coming in and telling us they're going to rip it all down. And if you watched over the course of tonight, he continued that theme. He brought out who he really was. He was measured at first. He tried to, he was almost gleeful in moments, Trump. But then, the real guy came out, the one who wants to serve himself. And it was just so apparent that he is hung up on the past. And Joe Biden had to answer to that, right? And that also made it kind of tough to watch because you're just like, you can see the frustration on Joe Biden's face. Joe Biden wants a more hopeful country. He's got a whole family that lives depend on it. Trump's family thinks they're set up for life, literally because they were close to the White House. And so I think what we were looking at tonight was this. It wasn't a level playing field, never could be. But also, in some sense, for me, I think I'm also just angrier after tonight about our system being rigged against so many of us that continue to try to make it better. And I think that's why I wanted to be here with you guys tonight, because I know we can do it, but it's about getting creative. It's about remaining hopeful in the face of moments like this that truly do take the wind out of our sails. But being an activist, like I believe I am, that means we all just got to remind ourselves on the daily basis that liars are going to lie, and that is how democracies die. So how do we push back on that? That's what I'm going to do with my feeling tonight after watching that on the stage.
That's great, Rina. We're gonna have to cut and clip that. Liars who lie, democracies die.
What do you think, Michelle? What do you think,
well,
Michelle?
Listen, as the lone Democrat on this show, I will say, my phone was blowing up tonight with all my friends. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's, Biden this and Biden that. And I'm like, guys, y'all need to chill. First of all, was it, to Tara's point, was it his best night? Obviously not. He had a cold, as I read somewhere on Twitter. I think Kelly O'Donnell or someone said that. Yeah. I wish in a perfect world, I like to keep it real. I wish that he just come out and said that, hey guys, I'm a little hoarse, I'm a little sick, but you know what? I'm not a convicted felon, so I'm already winning, right? But as someone who lives in New York City and who's lived in the state of New York my whole life, it's not just 8 years of Donald Trump that I've had to endure. It has been an entire lifetime of having to listen to that man and see his name everywhere. So I think that it's a choice, right? It comes down to choice. And it's a choice between two men, but it's a choice between democracy and fascism. It's a choice between women. Hey, do we want to make decisions about our own bodies, or do we want to elect Donald Trump, who's going to sign a national abortion ban? Mm-hmm. He tries to walk. I mean, he said it right tonight, right? But, we have to get elected. We have to get elected because he's trying to play both sides, depending on who's listening. But we're not stupid. We know what he's going to do. And so, I think it was Maggie who said in the comments earlier, there's only one choice for women, and that's Joe Biden. So that's right. Did he have the best night? No, he did not. Was it a little worrisome at times? Sure. But,
goodness.
It's the choice is clear to me.
I feel so bad, Michelle and Rina and Tara, because what I'm about to say, I will tell you that debate hurt so bad I needed a safe word. I felt like Paul Giamatti in Billions. I felt like, gosh. So, as I was watching it, and also I know we got so many people on, right? Over 5,000, we got all these comments coming in. So I want to go that I think I'm a little bit embarrassed for the country, because here's the thing. We shouldn't have had a segue into who had the best golf handicap. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I will also say I will always say at the beginning, I thought sadly President Biden was awful in the first 20 to 30 minutes, but I think, and I'm so blunt, and Tara knows me very well. And I got to the point, I'm like, my Lord, I'm writing down so many notes here because I know so much about January 6th and the data. Like he has a chance to take a baseball bat here. It seemed like he couldn't actually get to where he needed to be because Trump's a magician at using non-facts and hyperbole as a weapon or as a hammer. Right. Yes. So he's dragging an axe of stupidity and he's just swinging it and trying to hit. And sometimes people are trying to be classy or they're trying to go to their talking points. That needed to be a roll with the punch gutter brawl. The other thing, too, is that I've been on a lot of debate stage, and you guys, I love to debate. Like, I love that. Like, I want to get on there. I want to scrap. If you want to say stupid shit, I'm your guy. Right. That was a weird sentence, but no. So, but I think that's the thing, that we're dealing with here is that you have a monkey flinging poo. So are you going to use a shield, or are you going to actually catch the poo, reform it, and smash it back in their face? And I think that's what I wanted to see, and that wasn't there. And here, so he just goes, what's the safe word? I think it was drink. So thanks, patriotic. But I think the last thing I want to say here as I'm watching this is the one thing I wanted to see at the end was Joe Biden end with a baseball bat in that closing statement. And it wasn't good. And so my biggest fear is that people are going to gloss over the facts of Biden, the fact that Biden was using facts. The Trump fact checking, I don't think it's going to matter very much. I think the far right media ecosystem is going to go crazy on this. I think they're going to capture pictures of Joe Biden when he looked incredulous, when the stupid stuff was happening and Trump was saying what he was saying. But I guess for me, and I want for you three, because I know you just said it so well, I wanted to be up there. Like I wanted to fight. Like as a former Republican, as somebody who still is a center right guy, I was so angry at the J6 parts when he talked about listen, when he talked about women being sexually harassed over the border, the first thing I would have looked at and said, hey, you know about that, don't you?
Yeah,
Right.
That's what you got.
That's right.
You know,
I know.
and I don't get it. So I'm angry.
You know what, Dan? This is what happens when you try to bring a policy pen to a guerrilla warfare political fight.
That's right.
And I've said this for years, that this is, no disrespect to my Democratic friends, that this is a part of the challenge for Democrats in these types of environments where they're trying to, and Biden does this. He's always been that guy because he's been in government for so long and has served for so long. He's used to, you remember, he spent decades in the Senate. Has anybody ever watched the Senate debates on C-SPAN? Okay. It's not exactly must-see TV. So that's who he is. He's prepared with the numbers and the points and pikas about this and that. This is not that environment anymore. That's not the game we're in. And so I think that the people who prepared him over-prepared him for a debate that would have happened in 15, 16, 20 years ago. The debates aren't like that. He wasn't debating Mitt Romney. They should have, to our point, they should have come out with those every single time, kind of like the debate safe word, right? It's the go back to this. If you notice, Trump did that. He always would go back to this country is failing. Biden's a failing president. The border, he had 5 things that those are the only things you ever talk about. Doesn't matter whatever they say, go back to this. And we all know that repetition creates reality. So a perception of reality here. And I think that for President Biden, if he was under the weather and wasn't feeling well, and so because we've never really seen him like that, we know what he's capable of. So that would explain a lot. But somebody should have had a contingency plan that if you don't feel well, or if you start to want to go down that policy road and start, spouting off this fact, that fact, most people aren't going to remember that. Remember the big themes. And when he started to do that, that's when you saw Biden come alive. Because deep down inside, he has a visceral reaction to Donald Trump. And that a lot of us have, because he's so indecent. He's such a liar. He's such an affront to everything this country stands for. And he doesn't deserve to be anywhere near the White House ever again with the way he behaves. That's why Biden kept saying, a president's never done this before. What kind of president would do this? Yes, but he had to be cleaner with landing those shots, because he had a couple good ones, but he was over prepared. They didn't do him any favors with that, trying to get him out of that habit. But again, it's still the bigger themes here. And Rina, you and I were Republican strategists and comms for years. You always go in and you prep your principal with the 3 main things you want to make sure you say in the beginning and the end, because most people don't remember what's in the middle. And it was a missed opportunity for President Biden to remind the country what was at stake and what the difference would be between him and a Donald Trump presidency in the bigger themes, right?
I think you made a couple good points there, Tara, about just that him coming alive at some point, because I think he was that angry. And that's when, you get the real version of your candidate. And I wonder what you think of that, Denver. Sometimes when we talk about policy making, you got to remove the practicality of it all. And that old adage of taking that knife to the gunfight. I come out with all those cliches all the time, because there's just nothing else you can say about this stuff. You can't be a practical policy person in the face of a pathological liar. And it's been said a million times tonight, different ways on the old thing called Twitter. But, I think when you go to the public square, most of us have been brought up with this sense of bringing an honest person to the outside. When you step outside your house, you should bring a version of yourself that is correct. Donald Trump doesn't deal like that, right? Never has. And that's why lying works for him. I did a number of media interviews international today, and they said, well, what would you have said to Trump if you were prepping him? And I always love to give, acronyms, and I love alliteration, sucker for that. So I said TCI would have been my acronym for Trump. For the principle, when you're saying go in, but remember your job when you forget everything else. TCI, teach, convince, inspire. Trump had to teach the public about why Biden was bad. I heard him do that on inflation. He said he's the one who gave you inflation. Lie, of course. We all know it's related to supply chain issues, pandemic, what have you, but he kept coming back with, he gave you inflation. So that was a teaching moment I saw him do. The convincing bit was that Joe Biden was lying about the suckers and losers line. And so was Kelly. So he kept trying to convince that, no, Biden's lying. Bro, you're the liar of all liars. You're the one spreading misinformation, disinformation. You're projecting, and then he's inspiring people to think about other things, right? And he did that at several points about immigration, and that was one place that I saw Biden not push back where he could have with the easiest line, y'all. He could have said, "You promised to build a wall. That was the cornerstone of your campaign. You didn't finish it. It remains unfinished."
That's right.
Didn't do it.
Can I tell you the truth?
Again,
my phone lit up with that. My phone lit up with that. What you just said, Rina. My phone lit up with that.
Oh,
so
yeah. You know what I call that, Rina? That strategy that Trump uses? I call it the Pee Wee Herman strategy. The I know you are, but what am I? He does it all the time.
Unless you're in a theater.
Right.
Denver.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
But I mean, it's not funny, I mean, none of that is funny. But Rena's right about that. I mean, Michelle, I don't know. Go ahead.
Sorry, Tara, I got you completely off. I apologize.
Oh, listen, it's good like medicine. It's all right. Go ahead.
Well, right. I mean, to the point about the lies, right? It's like everything that Trump says is a lie. It was all lies. The whole thing was lies. But we know he's a liar. Like, that's not new information, right? So he's just spewing out things that aren't true, didn't happen. What was he said, like 18 million people crossing the border? I'm like, 18 million? For real? Like, and like no one says anything. And that's another thing that I was really irked about. And I don't know if it was just, this is the style of debate we're going to do, but nobody was checking him. Like, the moderators weren't saying anything. They weren't like, well, that's not true or anything, like nothing. I mean, so it's like, do you have to watch the spin room afterward to find out that something's not true? Most everyone has turned off their televisions by then. Who does that help?
Right.
But you know what, Denver, to Michelle's point, the moderators can't win no matter what they do, because if they did fact check in real time, then they're going to say, "Oh, they were helping Biden," right? Then it's not a debate. Yeah. So, like, well, it's up to the candidate to fact check him. It's like, what you can't win for losing here.
Can I use Hunter S. Thompson?
Don't we all think it's style? It's style. The fact that he's lying, right? But it's how he's saying it. That you're kind of like, wait,
right?
That kind of hit right. Wait,
that's the issue.
Delivery. It's the delivery.
He's good on TV.
That's so disturbing.
I'd even argue that the debate format helped Trump with the microphones being off, because we didn't get to see how crazy he was running his mouth, talking over Joe Biden. Yeah. So I think it actually helped him look less crazy and more, measured throughout the whole thing, even though, everything that he was spewing was lies. And he has that way of talking that just kind of lulls everybody into sleep, into a trance. And you kind of don't even pretend to understand anything that he's saying.
You know what, though, Michelle? I would think that they'd have somebody actually, when they were doing the prep, going over this, right? Exactly. If this guy tells a lie, Joe, this is what you want to do immediately. Right. I love Rina's idea about an acronym, right? Mm-hmm. Mine is like BCK, right? It's like, no, I'm not even going to say it, but no, but really the fight doesn't start until you get them on the floor. And I don't think they have any prepping Joe Biden. I'm going to say it, guys. Listen, can I just go there? And everybody on here is probably going to. They don't have a mother fudger in there that's dragging 1 million, right? They're not using the Hunter S. Thompson. They're not bringing, a 1 million pound shit hammer to the actual debate. You got to bring a sledgehammer to a squirt gun fight. That is the only way to win in these things. And if they don't have the guts to say, Joe, you got to take the gloves off. This is not about specific policy points anymore. It needs to be an all-out brawl. And if he ever talks about golf again, say, well, you might be good at golf, but the country thinks that's the only thing you're good at, because you also have been just indicted on 34 felonies, or you're convicted of 34 felonies, right?
Yes.
Why didn't they give him the math? You got 67 more felonies to go, brother. Maybe you shouldn't be on the stage. Maybe you should be praying for your court case, right? And Stormy says hi.
Yeah,
that's shit that needs to happen.
Right? He started to do that, and then he didn't land it. He didn't land it, and then it got tied up. And I was going, yes, there it goes. I was like, when he said, he goes, yeah, I'll play golf if you can carry your bag. I mean, I was like, okay, all right, fine. But then he flubbed it, you know.
Right.
No, you don't want to dry fart when you're actually trying to come back during the debate. And you know, and I think also, you know, that, you know, as far as debates are concerned, I've been on the stage, you do freeze if you get too angry. I don't know if it was Rina, Michelle, or Tara talking about this. When I would get too angry and I really hated that person, it would actually stifle my ability to counterpunch, because all I want to do is go over and go, ah, you know, you know, so you got to be cool. You got to know that it's going to be a fight. You might hate that son of a gun, but you also got to be cool enough to where you're thinking clearly, where you can counterpunch. So that's, you know, that's where I'm at on it.
Well, I think people would have appreciated if Biden actually had lost it a little bit.
Oh yeah,
right. Like when he told him to shut up last time, he was like, "Well, you shut up, man." Like that was nobody else remembers anything else from that debate but that.
It's cathartic for all of us. Right. It's what we're all thinking, right?
Correct.
Okay.
The other thing too about this that I noticed that we need to remember: Donald Trump has been spewing the same bullshit for multiple hours a week at these rallies for 4 freaking years. He's been doing this, almost 4 years, post-presidency, 3 years, doing the same freaking routine twice a week.
Prepare,
right? So this way, what I'm saying is that he's on autopilot. This is the same. He didn't say anything tonight that we haven't heard before at a rally for the most part. So this is the same autopilot. President Biden hasn't debated in 3 weeks. I mean, 3 years. 3 years. So it's, you know, let's not forget, people, that Barack Obama got dragged in his first debate against Mitt Romney. And everyone started to panic there, not quite like this, but a whole thing like, oh my God, you know, blah, blah, blah. First debates are traditionally never great. And so, but so much is on the line this time. It's a little bit different because we're not in a traditional campaign environment like we used to be. But it's still, I mean, there was the risk that Biden would be a little rusty. But
you know what?
We still have how long to go before
we got some time. We got some time.
There's a lot of time, actually, guys. I mean, I think it's super important to be clear for all the people who are here tonight, like who are tuning in. There's a reason they're tuning in, right? Because now comes the intrigue of what the F now. I mean, there's no other way to frame it. Everybody's going to be.
You go, Rina.
They're just going to be intent on these clips. They're going to watch them over and over and be like, is he going to croak? Right? So, like, let's be real. This election is about defeating Donald Trump. Right. It's not about electing Joe Biden. It's about defeating Trump. And that's why anytime people bring up to me RFK Jr., I'm just like, no, sit down. He's not on enough ballots. I did that song and dance in 2015 with McMullen.
Rita,
don't try to come at me. I've done the ballot access bit. This guy's a nothing burger. He's not a threat because we got to be real about the threat. The threat is Donald Trump. Lying and those lies sounding like truth. I did not have sex with a porn star or whatever. However, it was just so simple, so succinct. So we got to remember, most of us are tuned out. Okay. Everybody here tonight is tuned in, right? But we've all got people in our lives that are tuned out. And so I say to everybody, our challenge is really, really great. We got to tell more than 10 friends. We got to tell 10 friends a day almost about defeating Donald Trump, because this guy will install Junior. He's going to install Junior because this he's no spring chicken, 78. Okay. He croaks. Who's coming in? Junior. These guys will rewrite the rules. And somebody said earlier, why did Project 2025 get not talked about?
Exactly.
People don't realize yet how crazy it is, how the heritage nuts are going nuts and nobody's still talking about it. So I think we just got to keep reframing whatever happens after tonight happens. Denver, I'm in the camp with you where I'm just like, gosh almighty, I just want to forget that happened. I wish it didn't happen.
Well, how about this, Denver? I'll rescue you here. Rita, that's a good segue because we are doing it's joint, right? We've got the Seneca Project, we've got COTS, and we are here to remind people, particularly moderate women in the swing states, what is at stake and staying focused. And that is the title of our debut ad is called A Time for Choosing.
You beat me.
And yes,
You
A Time for
beat me to it.
Choosing. That's all right. I'm helping you out here.
I love
Time
it.
for Choosing, because this is what it's about. To Rina's point, it's about the choice. And as of right now, that choice is between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And no matter what we do, Donald Trump cannot win the presidency again. And for women, our lives are literally at stake. So check out our ad, A Time for Choosing.
The Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade and ended a woman's constitutional right to an abortion.
We trust women.
There's a threat facing women in America that transcends party lines.
My country doesn't care about me.
And it's time we ask ourselves, do we still value the freedoms we have fought so hard for?
We should all have the care that we need.
This election is a choice, and it is a time for choosing. We're told we have to choose between left or right, but we know what the real choice is. It's a choice between our freedom or their control, between our right to determine our own destinies or Donald Trump. So seriously, America, what the hell are we doing? We can't sit on the sidelines while women in America suffer and die because a right we once had has now been criminalized. If we don't make the right choice, there's no state to escape to. There's no going back. Choosing who will shape our future is a right we still have left for now. And that choice is up to us.
The Supreme Court
Oh, it was
we can
so
watch
good.
it
We were going to
again.
do it again. I was like, do it again, Doug.
Fired up.
Do it again. No, I got to, after watching that, I know what you all have done. I don't think there's another organization like you in the country. It's a little bit overwhelming that you would include me. You know, I was a poor kid from the hills. And no kidding. It's just amazing that you guys have actually included me in this. I'm so happy that I'm an advisor on there. And I do want to
You're
ask
our
you
favorite
guys,
girl dad, Denver. You have to remember.
I feel that makes me
You're
really
the leader
happy.
of the coalition of the sane, and you're a girl dad. How could we not include you?
That's right. And we make whiskey, and which
there's
puts us in a different level. But I do want to tell you all that it's just been amazing that you all would actually do this with me. You would come on here tonight. What you're doing as an organization, I'm so proud that you allowed me to be a part of it. I do think women will save the country this year. I'm not just saying that because of your commercial and it was so incredible, or the video that you did. And I know that you did it on your own, right? That you three there are just doing amazing things. But I do think with this debate, I think what scares me is that all of us have been tuned into politics for a long time. We've all helped people with debates. We've been on the debate stage. We've been around people. I think my biggest fear tonight, and this is, I know that we wanted to do about a half hour, but I think people are loving this, and I want to talk to you all about it, is that the people who aren't as well informed are the ones making decisions in a lot of these things. And it's not that they're stupid. I'm not saying that, but they don't know all the ins and outs. They don't know that there are 35 million lines of data for J6. They don't know the command and control, infrastructure. My guess is most people watching the debate tonight didn't read the J6 report. I don't think people are actually reading the economic statistics. I don't think they're actually looking at what's happening on the border. I don't think they remember the infrastructure bill. And if I could crib from you, Tara, they don't remember all the bills that we talked about on our show a couple of days ago. They don't remember actually all the accomplishments. So what got me is Joe didn't come out with the accomplishments. He didn't come out with a baseball bat. And I think that's the thing that bothers me is people are making decisions sometimes just based on how it's presented. I think Rina was right. I think when she said Trump is saying something that sounds so ridiculous, but it sounds plausible, even though it's hyperbole or a lie, people grab onto it, then they go to work the next day. That's where we're at. And love to hear what you guys think about that. I think that's where we're at. And I think that's why I needed my safe word. I think that's why it was so painful. I think that's why I needed a safe word.
I think that you're right, Michelle. I mean, I think as you and I were writing that ad, and when we were thinking about why we started Seneca, why it was needed, and what's at stake, I think those things still apply. Are we all a little disappointed that Biden didn't come out as State of the Union Biden? Sure, of course. Is it a setback? Sure. But this is a marathon, not a sprint. And to Rina's point, we have a lot of time, and people need to still be informed about what's at stake. To Denver's point, he's right. Most people don't pay attention the way that we all do, because we're all informed people and we're crazy, and this is what we've decided to do for our life's work. But it takes those of us who are motivated and understand that to spread the word. Democracy only works if we are informed and engaged. And that's why we say galvanize women, save democracy. We're focused on women, but it takes all of us. It takes the girl dads. It takes the swing state voters. It takes the Republicans who are fed up with the party and want somewhere to go. It takes the Democrats who understand, hey, we've been trying to tell you guys this for a long time. You should have listened, right? So what do you think, Michelle? I'm not as despondent as a lot of other people are, because we just can't be. You get knocked down, you got to get right back up again. It's too important.
We have no choice. I mean, the other choice is like, well, guess Trump's going to win. Like, what? No.
Right.
We've been through this before. We remember how bad it was, right? And that's where the question of, how was your life better 4 years ago? No. I live in Manhattan, all right? Thousands of people were dying in my neighborhood 4 years ago. The sirens didn't stop 24/7. I had neighbors die, and it all happened very fast, and there was no one there to help us. In fact, their strategy was let the people in the blue states die.
That's right. People need to be reminded of that. That's what Biden should have said tonight. Oh, you're going to talk about COVID and people dying? You were the one that withheld, important supplies and necessary things to blue states and told them, well, that's what they get. Too bad. We don't give a shit. Right. There are mass graves in New York City.
Yes, the healthcare workers at the hospital right around the corner from my apartment had garbage bags on. I mean, it's just, and I understand there's, most of the country didn't go through what we did. It was a different experience, and it was, a slower, hopefully more prepared experience. But, it really was terrible. And the thing is, even before that, things were pretty terrible. Not to mention the 3 Supreme Court justices that Donald Trump appointed to a radical activist court. And because of that, we are now in this predicament that we are as women now, where we are one decision away from, oh, if I'm bleeding out in an emergency room, is the doctor going to save me? And at what point is the doctor going to save me? And who decides what's an emergency? How close to death do I have to be for someone to save my life? And all of this has happened because Donald Trump was president.
That's right. Tell them, Michelle.
Right. So do we want Donald Trump to be president again? Or do we want the old guy who maybe talks a little slow, who's decent and has done a great job, and who has been a great president and has spent 4 decades in public service, and who's a great dad and great grandfather, and also a great husband to his wife? So you know what? I kind of don't want to hear it. And I most of my friends are Democrats. I'd say 99% of my friends are all Democrats. And I've been having the same conversation for the last 3 years. Guys, it's going to be Donald Trump and Joe Biden. It's going to be Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And my husband and I remember we were at a wedding in Chicago this fall, and someone said, come on, Michelle. No, it's not. No, it's not. And I'm like,
you're right.
And again, we're all in it, right? So we knew that. But most of the people that we know, right? Most of the people in the country are just living their lives, raising kids, working, trying to make ends meet, right? They're not paying attention. But now that hopefully they are. And as we go into the summer and especially into the fall, when things really ramp up, again, it is our job, specifically at the Seneca Project, to make sure that we're getting that message out to moderate women, just like us, that they understand the stakes and how it is quite literally life or death for us and to the people we love. So
it's hard to follow that up, Michelle.
Sorry.
On fire.
That was really good. That was very good. And I want to ask you, so can I give a bright spot, I think, on this debate?
Love that.
May I do that? May I do that for all the people watching it, the thousands of people with their eyeballs, which it is. You guys aren't going to believe how many people are watching right now. Here's the thing. I think Trump's crazy poked out a little bit. I don't know if I should use that sentence again, but I think that his crazy.
You wouldn't have been able to see it.
Yeah, that's what Stormy said. But I think it, when it came out, when he talked about Joe Biden as a Manchurian candidate, I don't know if you guys were watching that 10 to 15 minutes where he actually went to deep state conspiracy theories, Manchurian candidate stuff. That's the time when I would have started laughing as Joe Biden go after him. So I think if the Biden team could mix some of that crazy into some kind of commercial or ad, maybe they can drag the axe that way to go after him. But that was really where I saw where Trump actually hurt himself, where his hyperbole seemed to be working. He seemed to have a lot of energy. Joe wasn't on his game. You could see it was not good.
Well, so much for the drugs argument.
No, yeah. Well, the drug argument's gone. I will tell you, it's gone. It's gone. Yeah. And if anybody looked like they were in drugs, it was Trump, especially at the end, because he went nuts. He actually was using non sequiturs also, but it was very loud, very confident non sequiturs. And that is what you were talking about, Tara. So I do think it's part of his shtick. So I do believe that if the Biden administration if the Biden campaign staff can put together that crazy on the conspiracy theories and hammer him on J6, I think we might have a chance. But the Manchurian Candidate stuff actually made me laugh out loud, because I'm like, this guy, he does believe The Lord of the Rings is a documentary. I mean, there's a way for us to actually start swinging a baseball bat here. But again, I don't think they have that kind of person on their staff. That's like a Chris LaCivita on the Trump side.
Yeah,
they need to hire Carville. They need to go get Carville out of retirement. He knows how to fight.
They need somebody tougher. I don't know, Tara, if you three want to end, and then I'd say good night. I know we've been on about 40 minutes. So what do you guys think? I mean, do we want to end it up now? Because I think right now I need another drink. But no, I think.
Well, I think Rina. We should give Rina her last word. I'll give a quick last word, and then you can wrap it up, Dan. Because Michelle, she already we could have ended it after that. She did. We could have just ended it there.
What the hell's going on here?
I mean, I wasn't prepared to really come in tonight with anything. I mean, I think I'm just still in shock from what I saw. I don't like debates, number one, because look, we have the attention span of goldfish. It's a thing now, right? And as a longtime political professional, I've kind of seen the industry tank, right? Like, I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, who's surrounding who ever more? People try to stay in power, right? And I'm frustrated by people clinging on to power. And what I saw tonight was a very clear choice. But the real big task now is bigger than me, bigger than all of us, bigger than friendships, the fact that we are all sane. It's about making sure other people open up their eyes. And like, I know the only way to do it, the only way to fight is when you bring it to people, you meet them where they are, number one, right? We always talk about that, but you bring it to them in a way that's easy for them to digest. And one of my favorite things to always remind people, Trump lied, people died. And this was the fool that was telling people, Tara knows this, I come from a very medical family, daughter of one, sister of two, married to one. To hear any leader of anybody talk about ivermectin and injecting bleach into your veins, and then just like casually going about their day as if it was a normal thing to say, his lies, and his administration knew things were happening, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't protect us. And all of us, whether you're in a rural state and an urban state, whether those deaths were right next door to you, or you knew of somebody who knew of somebody that passed from COVID, we got to remind people why we voted him out in the first place in 2020. You boot out a president, you denied him a second term because they did something so absolutely ridiculous. It's not about enriching himself. It's not about enriching his family. None of that. It's not about his ego. It's about his lies. The fact that he lies with such callousness and doesn't care that all those people died. And that's it. There's nothing more. And so everybody listening tonight, take it in your own way. Take a bite size, look, I'm like I'm barely like 5'1" on a good day. I always say all good things are fun size in life, right? So fun size bites to give your people, to remind them of why we got to defeat Trump. I'm making it less about Joe Biden and the Democrats because I'm not one. Never will be, never was, never will be. Nothing wrong with them. Because look, I am still a sort of like rainbows, butterflies. We all can get along, kumbaya. But we need to defeat Trump. So take the fun size bites. Again, stuff like Trump died. Trump lied. Oh gosh. Trump lied. People died. Our fellow Americans died. That's it.
Well, there you go, Rina. And I'll pick it up from there for you. It's from you. If Trump wins, democracy ends. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's the bite-sized phrase for that. On the other side of it, yes, Trump lied, people died. If Trump wins, democracy ends. And we need to make a decision in this country, whether we want to live in a democracy or not. Do we want a future? Do we want a country where people like Donald Trump are rewarded with power and are controlling our lives? Or do you want a country where women are treated equally, where we have leaders who are good and decent and respect our democracy? As imperfect as our country may be, we are still the greatest country in the world, the envy of the world. And we are the shining city on the hill. But Donald Trump is darkness. And the future without, if we don't defeat him, it's darkness. And that is never what America's been about. And so that's not what we are about. We carry the light. And that's why people in this country that's what they're looking for. They don't want, of course, there's those that want the retribution and the anger and the grievance mongers and, the whiners, as Biden brought up, which I thought was one of the best lines of the night too, when he called him a whiner, because it's true. He's a whiner and a loser. And by the way, convicted felon. Did we mention that part? I mean, we have to remember this, people. These are facts that are indisputable. So keep your eye on the prize. This is about saving our democracy. And this is the vehicle to do it. And just to quickly answer, someone asked, where did the Seneca name come from? It is an homage to the Seneca Falls Convention of 1848, where women got together and said enough was enough. They were tired of being treated as second-class citizens, and they had a coalition of folks who believed in the basic human rights of equality. And that's where we got it from. So that took a coalition. It might have taken them 70-something years to get the right to vote. There were a lot of other things that women wanted too. The right to vote and women's suffrage was the main one that everybody remembers, but it was a lot. It was about all kinds of things. And we're back there again. So the 3 stars on our logo represent the past. We represent the present so that we can make sure we have a positive future for our next generations. And that's what this election is about.
Well, I want to thank you 3 stars for doing this with me tonight. See that segue, that transition? And I'm really good at this. I mean, geez, I should do this for a living. I also want to say, I want to thank everybody. I mean, everybody, listen, we had getting closer to 10,000. The comments on the right side, thank you all for being on tonight. Everybody that was on here doing the comments, talking back and forth, we really appreciate you. I was trying to read them while we were going, but there's so many and so fast. You're fantastic individuals. But I do want to end with this. People should subscribe to the Seneca Project. I hope they subscribe to the Coalition of Sane. What we're doing, I think, is very important. What you all are doing is insane. It's in a good way, by the way. It's incredible to try to mobilize people that are sane and rational and women that want to change this country for the better. And I really appreciate you 3. I want to say this to everybody before we leave, though, as I leave for the Coalition of Sane. People who snort ivermectin like cocaine, their vote counts the same as a scientist who actually made the COVID vaccine. So as you're going through your life, remember, ivermectin snorters, they have the same vote as scientists. So as you're going through life and arguing, I want you guys to know that a stupid vote counts just as much as a sane vote. So I need all of you to be sane. I need you to drag the million-pound shit hammer to every single confrontation you have. You need to make sure that you go after the crazy. And that's what the Seneca Project's doing. That's what the Coalition of Sane is doing. We love you all. And thank you for joining us tonight. Good. Okay. I'll see you all later. Bye.